This video is part of a study about the similarities and differences in Latin America with a focus in cleantech, healthtech, and education. What we do in Rubica is that we promote brands that add value to the world. We use business intelligence to discover opportunities and insights like the ones you are about to see. Then with that information, we adjust products and services with our clients, and then we co-create digital strategies with them and experiment in an agile way in all possible digital media. So at the end, our clients end up selling more and having better positioning in Latin America. To talk about Latin America, one of the first things that we need to understand is the differences between rural and urban areas. So what you're seeing here, for example, for the case of Mexico, but also in the other graphs, you see here that for Mexico, 81% of the population lives in urban areas, but what you see here in the circles is that only 3.1% of the total land, it's actually those urban areas. So take the case for France. France happens to have the same proportion. 80% of people live in urban areas, but the difference is that when you see the graph for France, you will see that 16% of the land correspond to those urban areas, to those cities. So for France, 50 million people live in 16% of the land, but for Mexico, 100 million people live in only 3.1% of the land. And you will find very similar distribution, for example, in Colombia. The critical case, for example, is Argentina, where above 99% of the population live in urban areas, and those urban areas account for less than 8% of the land. What this means is that we in Latin America live in very big, very beautiful, very chaotic, very complex cities. And also what you need to know is that there are 17 cities in the region where 110 million people live, and almost 80% of the economy is managed from those 17 cities. So probably when you think of doing business in Latin America, or you think, for example, do business in Colombia, you probably do business in Bogota and Medellin. Or if you do business in Peru, you probably do business in Lima. So that will help you navigating a little bit better and reducing the scope for starting or penetrating the market from an entire country who are very big to specific cities. But this also implies that we have a very big problem really reaching those rural areas. Those rural areas are very remote, very difficult to reach. And some of the governments are making priorities about how to reach those rural areas with specific education and health services. We'll talk a bit about that in later videos.